Welcome to Brobench Release Recap version 4.6, codenamed Ganymede. Ganymede is the largest moon of Jupiter, and it is bigger than in the planet Mercury. It was discovered by Galileo Galilei, and it is one of those the 4 Galilean moons. It is believed to have more water under subsurface than all the Earth's water bodies combined. So that is interesting. We think, Earth is so much water, and this has more water than the Earth water bodies combined. So it'll be interesting to see if we can discover some primitive life in there. That would be awesome. Anyways, back to the release. So we have a lot of exciting features. So in this release, we are adding support for data cloud in the Brobench. So we have 3-pronged support for data cloud APIs that you can explore all the APIs. Data cloud query, which allows you to author data cloud SQL queries and run them and see the data. And then of course the data cloud objects, which allows you to explore all the different data cloud objects, see the details, and then you can export the data to create a data dictionary and other aspects. So let's go and take a look. So we have an API Explorer. So you can go to the API Explorer and then you select the type. We have added a new type here called data cloud. And when you select that, and when you execute a particular API, so behind the scene, the Brobench will do all the heavy lifting of authenticating a new token for the data cloud, authenticating, getting the new data cloud, the tenant URL, and then executing against it. So you really have to deal with the relative path of that particular data cloud. So this is one aspect, and of course you can go and change all the different the methods and then execute however you see fit. We've also added the standard data cloud API registry from the standard Salesforce Postman collection. So thank you for the team for maintaining that. So you can easily explore all the APIs here. For example, let's say if you want to go and see the V2 query API, how it looks, and it has all the documentation from the collection, and you'll be able to see that. Okay. So this is the one support. So go check out the data cloud APIs support if you want to know more about it. Next up, we have a DC objects. So here we show all the, you can access that, from here, go to the select the DC objects here. It shows all the different objects available. Of course, what is returned via the API. There may be some objects actually Salesforce UI shows, but it is not returned via the UI for some reason. Sorry, not returned via the API for some reason. Obviously, those won't be shown. So this is everything what is supported out of the box by the Salesforce APIs, the data cloud APIs. So if something is not supported, then obviously it won't be here, but we'll keep track of that and then enhance it as and when it becomes available. You can easily search for the objects and then filter them. You can even do shortcut filter here and all that. You can quickly view the ERD of the data models here. You can even search for something, let's say search for the object that contains rental in them. So it shows a relationship between them. Or you can click on a particular object and then see the data. For example, let's say booking DLM. It shows all the different fields available in that, the type and all that. And then we have a parent fields, child fields. You can navigate to the parent and child object from here. And of course, you can see the ERD of that, the individual object level ERD. And then of course, you can preview the data for that particular object. The preview shows the standard 100 records max, but you can go and change the preview, the record length, how many records you want to preview. So this is the data cloud objects feature in the Brobench 4.6. So next up, we have a data cloud query. So similar to the data cloud objects and then DC API support, we have a query support. So here we have added a support for API collections. So you can save the queries in a tree format. You can search for the queries and run them, or you can author ad hoc queries here and execute them and all that. For example, let's say if you go run this booking DLM, and then it would show the data here like that. So you can export, you can search for the data, filter columns, you can copy the data, or you export data in various formats. So you have access to all of the standard Salesforce Brobench capabilities here as well. Okay, so go check out the query module for additional details like how to do the history, favorites, and how to save the queries and all that. Okay, so next step, we have a records monitor. Okay, so we have had the individual record monitor in the Brobench. For example, you can right click and say track changes. So when you enable that, it will track all the field changes as long as you are in this particular screen for any change that happens across that particular record. So that monitors a single record. What if you don't know what records in an account that particular transaction is going to touch, or how many other objects it's being touched? So that's where we have added this records monitor. This allows you to monitor multiple objects or multiple records and even changes by multiple users. So it polls all the records. It doesn't use a CDC because we want to be able to monitor all that you can query. So it uses a standard polling mechanism. So once you specify an object and specify the records you want to monitor, you can, so let's go and specify account, for example, and then this particular user, and then now it tracks changes. So, and anytime you have changes in that particular account made by this particular user, change will appear here. For example, if you're going to take a look, let's go and change this pick list value, phone inquiry. So if you go here, you see that change has been made. Okay, so by default, it hides non-change fields. So then after that, if you go and make any other changes, you'll be able to see, because it's a first version, first time it detected the change, we wouldn't know what the previous changes are. But after that, if there are any changes, you would know about them. Okay, so this is the records monitor that allows you to monitor multiple records for changes. So this can help in troubleshooting your production issues and other things. And next step, we have a quick user search. So we have had the user record lookup in various places. For example, you can look up user from here, enter the ID and all that. So, but we didn't have a good mechanism to search for a user. We had this user search capability, but it was a little bit complicated for simple, straightforward user search. So we added a quick user search panel. So when you click on this here, it allows you to search for a particular user quickly and take out of the action that you're looking for. You can click on it to open the record in a full detail mode. For example, if you go here, enter, it opens the record in a full detail mode. Or you can click on this more actions and take various actions. For example, login as in incognito, or you can do the login as directly and other actions. Okay, so that is a quick user search capability. Similar to that, we have added a quick record lookup as well. Let's say you have a set of IDs. It could be any number of IDs. Let's go and copy all the IDs from here. Copy this text. So you can click on that. That opens the quick record lookup and enter any text that you have in mind, or copy it from email, or maybe copy it from the chat. It will extract the IDs and then shows the record previews, including all the record preview fields here. So you can quickly see. And then if you want to open a particular record, click on a record and then it opens up. Okay, so that is a quick record lookup. Next step, we have the child records. So we have added a new fixed tab called child records for the record viewer. When you click on that, it shows all the child records associated with that particular record. So in this case, it's showing cases, contacts, DL tests, that is the data load testing object that we have in the dev org, and then of course opportunities. So it shows a standard common denominator fields that includes the record type, the owner, audit fields, name, and all that. But if you want to see more details of that, of course, you can click through. That opens the record in a full detail mode, and then you can see the details, and then you can see its own child records, and then you can go about like that. So along with that, we have also added the breadcrumb for the records. For example, as you navigate the objects, let's say you go from field to the child records. So we keep track of where that particular record was opened from, which you can navigate to. For example, let's say you close this object for whatever reason. You can click on it to open that object back. Okay. So we have this capability. we updated connection details. Here, when you go here, you can click on it, and then that actually brings up the connection details. Or you can also click on this view connection detail option. Both are the same. And then we have added an overview that shows the name, the org, and all that. And then here in the org info, we've added a new tab called org info that shows all the organization, the field values for that record, and then as well as a user record for the current user. So if you're looking for quickly, the connection related information, you don't have to hunt down anywhere else. It is right here. So when you are the next step, we have a record editing enhancements. Okay, so when you're editing a particular record, we have made some changes, especially for date and time and all that. Let's say you have a date. So we have this particular date. You want to set some value. You can actually set the current date, or you can also select a date value, which actually brings up a picker, as well as the relative date, which you can enter in a format like a -5D, for example. So that shows the preview of that particular date, and then it'll allow you to enter. Okay, so then we have this save. So the number of fields that have been updated, it's actually showed as part of the save label. So you know that how many changes have been made. And then of course you can go and save it. Next up, we have a field and the object and the field access in the Object Explorer. For example, let's say you go to the object and you click on account. So we have added a new tab called access. So when you click on it, it shows the field access and then object access for all the profiles and the permission set and the groups over here. Okay, so it shows everything. So the type, the access code, like read and update, and the individual expanded version. And if that particular field, if it is a namespace and all that, so it shows this is a name, this is a label of that particular profile and the perm set. So this will help you to quickly troubleshoot, what access that you have. You really don't have to go hunt down in other places. Similarly, instead of access and showing in a separate tab, that access is also shown as an individual field level. For example, let's say you're trying to navigate this account name. You can click on the field access tab here. And let's go back and open different tab. Access is not applicable for some of the fields like a name and then the compound fields and all that. So you can select the field and then it shows the details. So when you're there, you can filter by what kind of access that you're looking for. Let's say show me all the updates, only the read access, so on and so forth. So you can also filter by the profile or a perm set or a perm set group. Okay, so you can see the change access for that particular field. So we have this capability in two places. Just to recap, one a separate tab and as well as an individual field level. And when you are browsing individual field level, you can select multiple fields, then access is shown for all the fields that you have selected. Okay. So that is an object and then field access enhancement in the Object Explorer. So the next step, we have a field metadata usage. So similar to the access, so we have enhanced the field object here details to show the metadata uses. You can select a particular field and then it shows the details for that particular field. Okay, so keep in mind, so this doesn't work for a standard objects. So you may have to open that, use that for a custom fields. Okay, so if you go open here, different org, so you can see how that object is. Let's say open the account. Let's say you select different one and then metadata uses. Okay, so let's say license number. So it shows by used by the flow, layout, and then this one. Okay, so you can say uses or used by either cases. If the field, for example, if it's a formula that refers to other formula, in this case, it'll show what formulas are being used there. Okay, so next step we have in the Object Explorer list views. So we list a lot of details for a particular object, And then we have, in this version, we have added a list views. So it shows there, it shows not just the name of the list views, all the details, what fields you have selected, what filters that list view applies, and all that. So keep in mind, the private list views, it is not shown because Salesforce doesn't allow to know what private list views a particular user has created. That has been a long pending issue. It is still an issue, so we'll not be able to show that. But anything that is actually non-private, not private to a particular user, so that you can see for this particular object. Okay, so next step, we have page layout fields. So we have page layouts, we have had this where you can show the different page layouts. Now the page layout fields show all the different fields across all the different page layouts, so that you can easily see where the particular field is used and then in what mode and all that. Okay. So similar to that, the schema lister has been enhanced to include those details. For example, if you go to the schema lister, now we have enhanced to show the object access for multiple objects, one or more, field access, as well as the page layout. So these two page layouts. Okay, and then of course it shows the list views and all that. Okay, so next step. So we have saved queries in the query module. So if we go to the query, we have added the capability to create, save the editor contents and all that. So now we have added this collection feature where you can save the one or more queries and then, render them in a hierarchical way to organize however it makes sense to you and then manage them. Of course, you can collapse the panel if you don't want to use it. When you expand it, it is there. You can search for the query and then use it. Similar to that similar saved script capability has been added to Apex. You can create Apex saved scripts and then run them. And one additional enhancement is that when you run a saved script, you can actually ask to confirm the message. So if you do that, so that it will actually ask you to confirm before executing the saved script. So for example, let's say if you're having a mutating script and you want to make sure that there's a confirmation before it runs it, you can make use of it. So that is the Apex saved scripts in the Brobench. So next step, we have a data grid editing enhancement. Similar to editing to be able to edit set date in the record editor. We have a similar capability in the query editor. For example, it's co and query. Okay, so let's use this one, query data. Okay, so you can search for date fields. So now if you go to the edit mode, so now you can see that we have, okay, so you can set date value. Similarly, it pops up and all that. So we have reorganized this model a little bit. For example, all the delete have moved under this delete operation, the revert operation and the set operation, everything here. And also we show how many records have been updated. So this is not number of fields, but now how many records. Let's say you update this particular record to set a current date, and then it shows one record. So once you go and save it, save the changes. So that is the overall changes in Brobench version 4.6, codenamed Ganymede. I hope you find these features helpful and adds more convenience and saves your time. Thank you for watching.